our June meeting. Please rise for the pledge and remain standing for a moment of silence.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence, please, for our first responders and military who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you. Okay, first up is public comment for agenda items. Seeing none, we'll move on. Rose Fire Company called in, and they're gonna come a little later, so we'll fit them in whenever they show up. Northern Central Railway.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Jody Anderson-Lighty. I'm here instead of Ashley this evening. And I did want to start out by just giving you a handout of our schedule events for the America's 250th weekend coming up the last weekend of June. It's June 27th and 28th. I think those are the right ones. Yep. Take one and pass it on. And then I also have a handout that is kind of a highlight of our impact and legacy. If you want to take one of those and pass it around. So I am here on behalf of Northern Central Railway to request a donation back from the borough of the amusement tax that's been collected for 2025. I believe the amount of that tax that's being collected is a little over $35,000, and historically the borough has given anywhere between 30 and 50% back to us as a donation. So just as a reminder, we are a nonprofit. We do not make money at this, trust me. We are struggling like every other nonprofit, and our mission is economic impact. Our mission is to bring in visitors for tourism for York County and Southern York County, to help businesses and make a better community for all of us. Last year, 53% of our riders were from out of state. So you're talking about over 11,000 people that came to New Freedom from other states that otherwise would not have come. When they come, we drive them to our local businesses. We drive them to the restaurants. We drive them to the coffee shops. Now we have a new bakery that we can drive them to. So we are always trying to drive folks to our local businesses. We are obviously concerned about the long-term viability of our organization, and we're also obviously concerned about the long-term viability of your community as well. And we also engage in community service. We give greatly discounted tickets for New Freedom Fest, $10 tickets for Smoke on the Rail. So we're a good community partner with the borough. And this 250th event that we are hosting and put together is going to be unlike any other in the county, to be honest with you. It's going to be a great event with a lot of participation from other organizations from all throughout Southern York County, as well as the county at large. So I would ask that you give back all of the amusement tax that was collected in 2025. I know that's a big ask, but we could really use those dollars. There's no doubt about that. And we are very good stewards with our money. We're very responsible with funds. I see on the agenda there's also perhaps a conversation about abolishing the amusement tax. We are in support of that. Based on the ordinance, I think there's some other organizations that could be charged the amusement tax. I don't know why we're the only ones, but I would certainly be in favor of abolishing that as well. So, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have, concerns.
Can you give us an example of who else you think should be paying an amusement tax?
Well, when I read the actual ordinance, and it defines amusement as all manner and forms of entertainment, diversion, sport, pastime, excursion, exhibition, or recreation. I think that would include your senior centers. I think that would include the VFW. I know that they have events that are also open to the public that you pay, like line dancing, my daughter goes to. You have to pay to do that. She's not a member of the VFW. So I think that there are other events, and I am not encouraging the borough to charge them an amusement tax at all.
Thank you.
I think that would be horrible. But I also think that that's an example of where perhaps it's not being consistently enforced against all organizations.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Can you just remind me what year you became a nonprofit?
So we were a nonprofit from the moment we were formed. We were initially formed back in about 2001, 2002. And for the next 10 years, it was all about raising money, getting organized, negotiating with the lease with the county. 2013 was the very first year that we started excursions. And it took, I don't know how many years to build that steam engine, which was really the crown jewel and the first motive power that we had. So 2013 was our first year of excursions.
When did you get your 501c3?
I think it was 2001.
Okay.
2001, 2002, from the very beginning. We've never been for-profit, ever.
Yeah, a lot of times though, you're not for profit, but you are waiting on paperwork, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, from the very beginning.
Would you be willing to share your audit information with us? So
Sure.
that we could
Yeah, it's
verify what you are?
public information, sure. Yeah,
I'm sure you have that down there. Could we get a copy of that?
sure. You want like the accountant's report? Is that what you want?
Yes, please.
How many memberships do you sell a year?
How many memberships do we sell a year? Off the top of my head, I think we have currently maybe 150, maybe 180. Not as many as we would hope to, because that is a great revenue source. But we don't have as many as we'd like.
Are they eliminated from the amusement tax?
That I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because I know they get free tickets for joining, you know. I
They
think the
do.
$400 is unlimited, and, you know,
Yes.
it goes down from there. You get X amount of tickets per season.
Yes, yep, you're absolutely right.
I didn't know if the amusement tax was collected on those or not.
I don't know. I really don't. I would assume not, because the amusement tax is part of our accounting, or not our accounting, but part of our ticketing software. So when you purchase a ticket, that's when the tax is assessed and collected. And if you're a member and you don't have to buy a ticket, then I would think that when they are riding, that tax is not collected. Now, whether it is collected when the initial membership is sold, I don't know that.
Probably shouldn't be.
Hmm?
From an accounting standpoint, it probably should not be, but
I'm not Sure.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We put on the agenda for next month, consider a donation for her request.
I would ask that prior to that, we have an executive session to discuss some items with our solicitor regarding the amusement tax rebate.
Don't think that that would qualify as an executive session. I think that should be just done in public if you have any
Well,
questions.
we discussed it, and since it's a legal matter.
Ongoing lawsuit,
Am I
unless you're planning
correct?
on filing.
Am I correct, Walt?
Well, you're permitted to get legal advice in executive session.
And that is what I'm asking for.
We have an executive session tonight then, since that's already on the agenda?
What, the executive session?
Well, she just
It's always
presented
on.
it. I think we might need a little bit of time to collect.
If you're looking for advice, then you've already got something on your mind.
Are you good with having it tonight?
Oh, sure.
Okay, that's fine.
Is there a specific concern you have that perhaps I could address?
No, not at this time.
Okay,
I'm talking about a legal matter, and I don't think it's advisable to discuss it in public.
any other
Sorry.
questions at all? I'm happy to answer anything. If you have any little nagging concerns, I'm happy to address them. We're an open book.
No, I appreciate it, Jody, and you always have been an open book, and we appreciate what you do, what your organization does for the community and the, the definite economic boom that we get from NCR being in town. And you've been nothing but cooperative through Smoke on the Rails and through
Our rec,
Freedom Fest.
very supportive of our rec, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your support as well, so thank you.
And I know Jody personally, right? I was your daughter's Girl Scout leader years ago. So
Me?
I
No, that was not me.
knew your daughter's Girl Scout? No, I thought maybe you
No.
were.
Karate. We learned Karate together.
Getting my kid fun.
Yeah, so don't make me mad.
And I've known you for a lot of years too, and your mom and dad.
All right, thank you.
Chris?
Good evening, everybody. All right, so I have your monthly fire report for the month of May. We ran a total of 36 calls. 24 of those were fire dispatches, 9 of those were EMS assist, 1 fire police call, and then we also have a duty officer page. Average turnout times were about 1:40. First due on scene time was about 6 minutes and 8 seconds for the entire coverage area that we covered. And then the Freedom Borough on scene time was about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. I did watch the minutes from the last meeting, and somebody, I guess, had a question about the times, what they meant. So the average turnout time is from the time we receive the dispatch to the time we hit the street. So that's what the average turnout time is. The on-scene time is the time that we literally hit the street and we are on scene. So the 6 minutes and 8 seconds could be anywhere from New Freedom Borough all the way out to Cadorus Township. And you guys know that that drive is about, it can be anywhere from 15 minutes to 7 minutes, just depending on where it hits.
Very
Obviously your borough time's gonna be a lot quicker because we're in the borough. So that's the 2 minute and 50 seconds. I do want to give a shout out, if I could. Andy Schaefer has been very helpful to me in the past several weeks as far as gathering resources, information, and helping me not just inside the borough with information inside the borough as far as ordinances goes, but within other municipalities that are sometimes a little harder to get a hold of.
Andy was able to step up for me and get that information and some issues taken care of for me in behalf of that. The other one that I'd like to announce is your superintendent for the borough, Jake Smith. That gentleman has been readily available day and night, no matter what time it is. I call him, one of my officers call him in a time of need, and he picks the phone up, and he's usually there within less than 10 minutes. Sometimes less than that, obviously, if it's during the day and he's here at work. There's been several incidents where he has showed up and has been there to help us with information or shut water off, especially when we have bursted pipes for some reason in the middle of June. And the fire we had in February for the apartment fire there, which that was one thing I forgot to put on here, was the total fire loss for the borough, unfortunately, this year is $105,000 instead of the zero that it had been for 2 years running. So that is all I have. If you have any questions for me?
You mentioned a page to a duty officer.
Yes.
What is, I don't think you've mentioned that one before. What is
So
that
duty
do?
officer pages, they're usually citizen complaints in regards to somebody that's burning in the borough. We have it set up as a duty officer call instead of putting out, you know, a whole box assignment on it, which a box assignment would be like engine, ladder truck, all that. So any kind of complaint that comes in that's not life-threatening or threatening to any kind of structure or anything like that, we'll go check it out, and it just comes out to the duty officers, which is usually your fire line officer, so your chief, captains, or your lieutenants. We'll run out, check it out, see what it is. 9 times out of 10, if it's an open burn, we inform them of what the borough ordinance is and tell them that they have to extinguish it, and then they put it right out, or we call PD, and PD handles it for us.
Is that a call directly to the fire department, or is that like a 911 call and they just say somebody needs something looked at?
So usually, they'll probably make the attempt to call the firehouse first. As you guys know, we're volunteer, so sometimes nobody's there to answer that phone, especially if the med crew's out in the car or whatever. So they'll end up calling 911, and then the dispatcher then puts it out as a duty officer page and sends it to us. And they ask the questions, as you guys know, is it threatening anything, or is there anybody in harm's way or whatever? And then they make that call, whether it's a duty officer page or an emergency response for, you know, your department.
Thank you.
Yep.
What's the status on the new tower?
So not much has changed with that as far as the build goes. They haven't started building it yet because obviously they're still running behind. But it's still on time and on track for May of 2028 to make its appearance. We did do some graphic design stuff on it as far as how we're laying everything out on the ladder truck. But other than that, we're just kind of waiting until they get it on the assembly line and start to build. And then next June, we go down there for, as they call it, the mid-construction build. They will already have it on the line at that point in time, and we'll just go down there and, you know, make some tweaks toward, you know, whatever may need to be adjusted. So, but yep, that's it as far as the truck goes. We'll definitely keep you guys informed with that.
Are you locked into a price on that? Or can they have, do they have the ability to come back to you and say, oh, well, this is going up and up and up?
No, it's locked in. When we,
Okay.
when we
I
sat
know
down
it
with
went
them,
up from the initial estimates.
And that's why we were kind of on the push, because they said that 2026, 27, and 28, it was going to steadily increase. So that's why we kind of made the push to get on it now
Good.
before it made the climb. Obviously, the ladder truck that we currently have is a 2000 E1. And when we purchased that, it was right around $650,000. And as you guys are well aware, the new one is almost $2 million.
Yeah.
So in 26 years, it made that big of a jump. So, and it's just steadily climbing. So we signed the contract for that price, and that's the only way it'll go up is if we decide to add anything to it. At that point in time, that's on us, you know,
Good.
for anything. So. With that being said, as far as the cost and whatnot goes, I want to thank you guys again gratefully for assisting us with that. With you guys helping us with that, it allowed us to take the money that we had been building for the past several years to be able to purchase new rescue tools. Those rescue tools will now help us in vehicle accidents as far as extrication and cutting cars and getting into the vehicles a lot faster than our outdated equipment has. We took possession of those about 3 months ago, and I've done several trainings with them, and we have now put them in service. So we are extremely happy to have that in place now so that we don't have to worry about having outdated equipment. So again, thank you guys very much for that assistance.
Abby didn't happen to give you the EMS report to bring along, did she?
She did
Because
not.
I did not get that this month from her.
Yeah, she did not. I just checked the email before I came up to see.
All right. She may be, it takes a while to get those in from 911.
Yeah, so,
This is kind of early in the month, okay.
What
Thanks,
happens,
Chris.
I'm sorry.
Tom, did you have?
What happens to the old tower once you get the new one?
so that one there will be put up for sale. We'll try and get what we can for it. They're telling us at the time that we do put it up for sale that we may get lucky and get $250,000 for it. Unless somebody is in desperate need. That ladder truck there, it is a good ladder truck, it's been well maintained. It needs to go somewhere flat though. It does not like hills. That thing is a dog on hills, but it's a great ladder truck, it just needs to go somewhere flat to run. So, but yeah, it'll go somewhere, we'll list it for sale. If it doesn't work out, then it'll end up going to an auction, get auctioned off, and hopefully somebody that gets it lives in a flat area. So,
Thank you very much.
very welcome, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Chris.
Mark?
It's nice to see everybody again this year. Thanks for having me. Am I sounding all right on this?
I can hear you, and I can't hear very well, so.
And I don't know what it's good.
They can hear.
As soon as
Sounds
you-
Good?
Voice.
You're good, they're good in the back, so.
Okay.
Okay.
We completed the December 31st, 2025 audit of the borough again this year. Our opinion was clean, basically summary fashion. That means there was nothing was materially misstated. Why don't we start with page 4. Page 4 is the balance sheet of the borough. Borough has total cash of $6.9 million. The majority of that, almost $6 million, is in the sewer and water funds. Total fixed assets, less depreciation, is around $9 million. And I believe this is the 3rd year we've been doing the statement in this format, I think.
I think you're right.
But total assets is around $16 million. Majority of that, like 11.7, is in the enterprise or the sewer and water funds. General funds around 3. Liabilities, the major liabilities is the general obligation notes payable. That is a total of around $6.9 million. 4.3 of that is divided up between sewer and water, and general fund is around $2.5 million. And that principal is paid on that every year. This year, the amount of principal paid was like $534,000. As far as the fixed assets, the amount added was like $2.4 million, and the majority of that, like almost $1.8 million, was in the sewer for all the various sewer projects. I believe there was a storm sewer project also, and it's paid out of general fund, stormwater improvement, sorry. That's like $374,000, so that's like the majority of what assets were added to this balance sheet in the 25 year. We go next to page 5. That is the income statement for the borough. Total revenue is around $9 million. General fund taxes was the highest amount at $2.3 million. Sewer and water payments was like $4.7 million. Expenditures for the borough was like $6.5 million. 2.6 of that was general fund, 3.7 was out of sewer and water, for a net income for the year of $2.5 million. The majority of that net income was in sewer and water. Sewer and water was like $19.9 million. Those are really two of the main pages for the borough's accounting records. I don't know if anyone has any questions now or on anything.
I can comment on the audit and its legal implications. And what I have found in my review of the audit is that it demonstrates, in my opinion, that the Borough Council and the Borough staff, employees, have fulfilled their fiduciary duties to the taxpayers. I have seen the tax revenues and the fund balances and so forth. They indicate that the taxes and other income sources are reasonably related to the expenses incurred by the borough, which is, you know, the hallmark that you look for, the connection between the two. It appears to me that the fund balances are also of a type that indicates financial stability on the part of the borough, which also is an indicator of appropriate exercise of fiduciary obligation. So maybe a more succinct way to put it is to say, well done.
And if anyone has any other questions, and to go along with what Walt said, I mean, as far as with us working with the borough staff, they're, you know, experienced, qualified, competent, and they're great to work with and do a very good job. So
Appreciate that. Is there anything else you wanted to highlight? We've all looked at it.
I don't really have it. I mean, that's pretty much it. Those first balance sheet and income statements, pretty much it.
Yeah.
And, you know, any of the major projects under this, how we've been doing this, these statements, will all be capitalized into the balance sheet. So, you know, we won't have any more of the fund balance issues,
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
from years ago. But, I mean, that's the main crux of things. So.
Well, thank you then. There's no other questions.
I have some questions. Some might not be able to be answered now. Just on, like on page 2, it shows on page 2 and 4 that we have the $6.3 million in the long-term note debt.
Yes.
And I'd just like to understand, what is our long-term debt capacity? Like how much that we're allowed to take, you know, by law? Where are we at? I've done some calculations.
DCED allows 300% of your general fund revenue to be obtained in general obligation notes.
I can see like a 400%, is that something different?
That
Or
might,
they're two different ones?
there's one for special revenue accounts, and there's one for your general fund as well. And again, any kind of borrowing has to be approved by DCED.
Yeah.
It has to fall within their guidelines.
So I was kind of looking at like the past 3 years, and it looks like we're within about 2 million of our limit. Our limit's around 8 million.
Well, but again, you'd have to separate it out by fund. it's the percentage of your general fund, your special revenue, you're able to borrow additionally because it's self-liquidating.
So I want to understand it, and I want council to understand it, because there's been a lot of talk of capital improvements, park restoration, park revitalization, the eminent domain, just other things that would come from the general fund. So I just want to understand, are we close to, our maxing out to be able to do?
I don't think that we're close to being maxed out, but the park capital improvements would be primarily through grants. They would not be, I don't think any of us would approve a loan for a park improvement.
Well, but the park improvements, you would come from grants, and I believe it's been stated like maybe 50% of the $2 million that's from a year ago that we don't know what it costs now would be able to come from grants. But those type of capital projects, they had maintenance, they had utilities, they have ongoing fees and repairs, so it's not just how much that project costs. There's also long-term obligations that go with these projects. I know we've been talking about several of them, and I was just wanting to get a clear picture on the long-term debt capacity. And that's something that when we talk about projects, something that maybe needs to be brought up to see where we are at that time. I had a question on page 3. Our governmental services cost about $2.8 million, but the next two columns show that we bring in about $720,000. So that leaves a $2.1 million gap. That must be covered by taxes a year, is that correct?
Okay, you're referring to the $2,102,000?
Right where it's in bold says total governmental activities, $2.822 million. The very first column says expenses.
Oh, sorry, yes.
And then the two columns next to it, if you add the $341,000 and the $379,000 for the charges of the services and the grants, that adds up to about $720,000.
Correct.
Which puts us at a $2.1 million gap.
Well, and then that's all overcome by the general revenues underneath it, all the taxes.
By the taxes. So we've got to make up that gap with taxes, right?
Yeah, I mean, that adds up to like about 2.6 million.
Roughly. So my question is, what is our long-term plan to manage the gap? When we've seen costs rise and maybe revenue becomes stagnant or our revenue decreases. What is the plan to make sure that we can meet that each year? Do we have a plan?
I mean, would that be something that you would look at, like when you're trying to, follow your budget all through the year, that type of thing?
It's
I don't
not
know.
it's not really a gap, though.
But we depend, if you didn't have that, you only, for the 2.8 in the services for the year, million, you only bring in 720,000. The rest of it has to be made up by tax, receiving in revenue. And again, there's a string of capital projects that if you do them, they'll come out of the general fund.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but aren't you stating that everybody already knows that local government, county government, state government, federal government, school districts operate on tax revenue?
Well, yeah, but my concern is, prices keep rising. We're gonna have to depend more and more on that revenue. We'll wonder if that becomes stagnant coming into our community, the revenue that we're getting from the people that are being taxed. What happens if you can't meet that 2.1 million? Like, what's the plan long term?
But since New Freedom has been founded, we've met, we've met those numbers. I mean, it's not like, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, there is, I guess, some possibility that, you know, everybody in town will get laid off and nobody will pay taxes, in which case we have a major recession, and, you know, that would be a problem that we would have to deal with. But I don't think that, I mean, you don't plan on the Spanish Inquisition. You try to maintain what you're doing, and I think we've done a great job of maintaining the revenues to cover our expenses. So, but you're right, I mean, if there's a huge layoff of everybody around, then yes, we've got a problem, but so does everybody else.
But again, there's large capital improvements that will again draw down on that general fund, increasing that $2.1 million.
I'm not sure what capital improvements you're talking about.
Well, there's the stream restoration that you talked about, there's the Margie Goodfellow
You might not have an
expansion
option
that
on the
you
stream restoration.
talked about.
Well, I mean,
There's
yeah.
the eminent domain that you've been seeking, I mean, there's.
Which was denied.
there's-
I'm not sure why.
The eminent domain is
This
not
the
on the.
2025 audit, right?
Right, this is 2025 audit, it doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about right now. I understand what
It
you're
does.
saying.
It's what we spend a year, we're talking about what we spend a year, and.
We're talking about what we spent in 2025.
25, and when you look at your spending for 26, if you added that spending,
He's not here to talk about 26.
but I'm here to find out what our long-term plan is. That's what
Then
I'm-
we need to add something on the agenda for next month to talk about long-term planning. But again, we've met our obligations every year since New Freedom was founded. I don't anticipate that we're not in the future, although you are correct. There's some catastrophic thing could happen that would put us in a very bad position, but then everyone would be in the exact same position. It wouldn't just be us.
Something to keep in mind, page 3 and page 5 are the same numbers, it's just presented a little different. It's presented different by accounting rules, we have to do it this way. So I don't know if, but that is the same number, so page 5 is just a different format, all the revenues all together, whereas page 3, it's split up in kind of an odd way like this. It's just something to bring up. And then I think in the back, like the budget actual page is kind of like page 5. So, just for future reference, it is the same amount. So I mean, the profits are the same on both of these.
Yes.
It's just shown differently.
Erica, I just want to understand what you're saying. So your concern is this gap that we have right now, that with expenditures that are being talked about, let's just say the bathroom and pavilion, March.
I hate to interrupt, but it's not a gap. It's just expenses that are being covered by revenues. It's not a gap in
It's not a
funding.
gap, what's the term that we call that?
Difference between revenues and
And
expense.
expenses. So her concern though is that this difference
Go ahead.
will be shortened by expenditures we're talking about doing this year. Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, well, actually, I think what Andrew was going to say is, I guess I misspoke as well, because it's really not a difference between revenues and expenses, it's just what we're covering. We have to cover the 2.1 million, but we've been covering it since New Freedom was founded. It's not like all of a sudden something's going to happen. Now, I mean,
That can happen to anybody, anytime.
sure. I mean, if you have, I believe that the Jewish people call it bohu to bohu. It's complete and utter chaos. If the whole world goes into chaos, then yes, there's a
We'll have
possibility.
bigger things to worry about.
Right.
But I'm just trying to understand what her concern is here, if I'm seeing it.
But this is also why the borough adopted a fund balance policy too, to shelter from those emergencies.
Exactly.
And that was my
Thank
next
you.
question, that's on page, which is the next one. What is the policy, what percent?
It is, you have to maintain 16.7% of your revenues in liquid fund balance in the general fund, and then you have to designate and separate any projects that were allocated funds separate from your cash flow in the general fund. In the water and sewer fund, it's also 16.7%, but there's an additional emergency fund balance of 100,000 in sewer and 50,000 in water. And then additionally, any projects that were allocated funds are shown below that. So that fund balance applies to the general fund, the sewer fund, and the water fund. And if at any point those amounts go below the percentage, there has to be a plan in place to, within 30 days, to correct that action.
Is that by resolution?
It is.
I'm fine with seeing that one, can I get a copy of that? That resolution? Yeah,
It's on the website.
I didn't know that, so, because it showed that at the total fund equity at the end, at the end of the year was 620,000. Which goes into my last question. On page 8, like it says we ended the year with 620,000. And being that we use a modified cash basis, I mean, certain liabilities, expenses are not recorded, so did we really have 620 at the end of the year? Or were there some things that weren't received or paid yet that, you know, so?
I mean, the main reason we went to this form is the debt had to be on the balance sheet for the most recent bond issue, but in years past, we never put the assets on. So that, by putting that on, that's what gives us that positive fund balance, where in years past, it was always negative. And it's pretty much we just add on, those are the main things, adding those fixed assets and the debt that are the new items on this. We don't really go and do like a whole extensive calculation for receivables and payables. Like that's like a full accrual accounting like a business might, or a large company. But I mean, it's kind of one of those things, the way the bills are paid, I mean, it's, the balance sheet's only on December 31st. It's one day, one point in time. So it could be timing differences of when stuff is paid, but when expenses are paid, but it's still going to get paid, you know, when all's said and done. But like I said, there could be some timing differences, but.
You're always going to have that.
Yeah.
Exactly, you have that with any type of entity.
Nothing's stagnant. I mean, it's always in motion.
If you were to use, is it GAAP
Yes.
accounting, would that materially change our financial picture if you use that accounting?
I mean, probably not here. Because see, well, the thing is, then you'd be doing receivables and payables every year. So after the initial year, all you would be doing is making the adjustment. So probably from year to year, it's not going to change all that much. I mean, I don't know if that answers your question or...
Noticed in researching it, you know, it said that on the way it's done on this cash basis that, you know, you could have 620, but you could have 300,000 in unpaid, you know, whatever, and, you know, you
Right.
really only have 320,000, not 620.
I mean, the majority of the large expenditures are all in with the fixed assets and the improvements, and then your various sewer and water payments, then plus also your salaries and stuff like that. It's divided amongst the funds.
And sewer and water are self-funding, so.
Right, well, but, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I don't think it'll be something really, really material. I guess the only thing would be is if there was like $1 million capital improvement expenditure at the end of the year, there was some, you know, we would have to work out which year it goes in. I mean, that could be, but not with the normal day-to-day operations.
Plus, in the budget packet, the summary sheet breaks out cash on hand as of August 31st. It adds in expected revenues for the next 4 months, subtracts out expenditures, adds in expected revenues, backs out expected expenditures for the upcoming year, and gives you a final cash fund, or fund balance, which relates obviously to the cash balance. So when we're doing the budget as part of that, we're looking at capturing those upcoming liabilities, projects, and anything that we thought was going to occur in the first 9 months of the year, 8 months of the year, what's going to occur in those next 4 months, and then the next 12 months. So I think along the lines of what you're concerned about, we are capturing those for the next 16 months, basically. Anything outside of that, obviously, is unknown.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
New Freedom Heritage, and are you doing the hometown hero banners at the same time?
Yeah, okay. Doing everything. I'm not sure what that is.
Okay. Another chair?
Good evening. I'm Jim Holly, President of New Freedom Heritage. With me is Jack Eckenrode and Dennis Winters. Dennis is a longtime resident of the borough, probably longer than me. And I'm 84. Anyhow, what we're requesting tonight is that the borough consider taking over the Hometown Heroes banners. This was brought up at a couple heritage meetings, and the committee got together and talked to Shrewsbury Borough on how they went about theirs. Their project was initially started by the Lions Club, but now the borough takes care of everything. So I asked Jack just to give you a brief outline of what we're talking about when we say hometown hero banners.
Hey, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
You said the borough's taken it over. Have they even taken over like if someone wants to buy a banner and have it put up, do they come to the borough office and pay for the banner, and so it's the whole thing is done by the borough?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, Jim told me maybe you had handouts from the Shrewsbury applications and what their requirements are.
Oh, that's the one inside.
Yeah, it's headed up Shrewsbury Borough Hometown Heroes Banner Program, spring of 2025. If you have that paper, everything you need to know is on there. I suggest that Freedom Borough would probably follow similar procedures to have this done. Of course, the application would be reviewed by a selection committee, as it is in Shrewsbury Borough. And I would recommend that New Freedom Heritage, a couple of members from New Freedom Heritage being involved in that selection committee, along with maybe the Lions Club and maybe a couple New Freedom Borough Council people. And, well, I don't know what you don't know, so if you ask me questions, maybe I could answer some of them. I wasn't involved with the conversation. I guess, Jim, you had with Jake on we met with Jake and Andy. Oh, okay, the reasoning for the borough maybe taking us over. Yeah, as we got into this, we got to thinking about business part of it, and and we got an agreement from Med Ed, of which the borough already has an agreement. So we got thinking, and we went back and talked to Shrewsbury people again. And the borough sits here, they have a staff. It's not that people are coming in every day to buy a banner. These banners are a little expensive, but they really do enhance, and we have all heard a lot of comments about the banners in various municipalities and the feeling that it generates once you get them. Like a family has maybe a previous ancestor or someone they'd like to recognize in a banner. The company that makes the banners will guarantee them to be legible for 2 years minimum. So it's not like you're taking them up and tearing them down. Matter of fact, Brian Schweitzer indicated he felt that they'll probably get 3 or 4 years out of the banners. Also, the group from Heritage met with Med Ed, and they walked around the borough and got a list of poles that could act as banner holders on the main highways, which would be Main Street and Constitution, the Constitution Avenue. I think that's the only 2 streets.
We were all over.
Yeah,
Main Street, Second Avenue from Meineke into Main Street, North Constitution, maybe up to where the road bends, where the little convenience stores on the right-hand side as you're coming into town. And then East Franklin Street, because there's a lot of traffic there. Yeah, how crowded it is on the weekends, which would be a great place to display the banners. We have a total of 51 polls that we're submitting to, or we were submitting to the first entry. But there's a forms that need to be filled out, and I think if the borough is going to take it over, then that would be, that would be up to you going forward. So I don't know how much Heritage is going to have involvement in this, other than maybe being on the review board.
Yeah, and the borough has like if we were going to do it ourselves, we realized we'd have to hire a contractor to install. And Jake in the meeting indicates he already takes care of the Christmas lighting and some other things. And then you have a bucket truck to make it pretty easy. And it's not like you're putting it up and tearing it down a couple of months later. These things are put up, and unless something happens in the weather, they're not much work involved in maintaining. So
it would just need a more organized
yeah,
organization. I don't think the cost is not anymore, except for your borough employees to put them up, because the people will be paying for their, we just need someone we need a better organized. We're only open 2 Sundays a month down at the museum. And, we need help with the organization.
Well, the cost of the banner and the bracket and shipping works out to about $175. And the cost of the banner for the applicant
Would be like 200.
is $200, so it'd be extra $25 to cover, which obviously wouldn't cover the installation, but would help offset.
Or if you have any damage, or anything like that, you'll still have it. So I don't think the cost is going to be on the borough, except for your hours that you put into.
So, like Beans was saying, we went around town with the Brian Schweitzer, as he did over at the Shrewsbury Borough, and helped us pick out some utility poles that he thought would work. We came up with 51 of them. And what I was thinking, the more banners you have out there, the less, to me, the less value they have. I was thinking perhaps maybe 40 total with the 2-year cycle. First year do 20 banners, and they would be good for 2 years. And the second year, you put up 20 more. The third year, you would switch out the first 20 with the next. And,
Did you talk to Brian about how much time he thinks it takes?
No, I guess in the future, I'd request that, I mean, if you're gonna have municipal involvement, you contact Freedom Borough, not Shrewsbury Borough.
well, sorry, apologize for that, but they have done it.
I understand it, but
Okay. And I don't
they know
know.
Shrewsbury.
I'm not going to say who recommended us to contact them, but it was somebody who we all know in the community. Oh, yeah.
Jack, who took care of the sales and the advertisement of getting this established over in Shrewsbury? Was it the Lions that did that?
No, apparently it's the borough.
So we're gonna be responsible to advertise, and I don't think the borough advertised the whole thing. I thought the Lions Club in Shrewsbury initiated and advertised for this.
New Freedom Heritage could do the advertising.
Yeah, we
pick up the
We'd definitely be
applications.
able to help
Sure.
with the getting started and advertising,
Yeah.
and talking to people.
We've got so many things going on.
Well,
from
I mean,
year
this
to
is,
year.
this really is just a savvy citizen and a borough newsletter.
That would
and,
be
you know,
great.
That's what it's
It
gonna
really
be.
shouldn't be a burden,
Oh, no,
you know,
no,
to
it's not.
advertise it. And we're not gonna take out a radio spot or
Oh,
anything,
no.
so.
Now, the only other question I have is how would that interfere with our Christmas lights, the locations?
No, there's, they have specific areas.
So it would probably be below the Christmas
yeah.
lights where they are on the poles?
I don't
Are you even aware of any of this, Andrew? Okay, so we would be okay?
Yeah,
There.
there's specs on page
Seven.
7.
They have a diagram.
Yeah, but I don't know where the lights go. Do they go at the top, the bottom, the middle?
Yeah.
I think it would be something that we would obviously have to
Yeah,
work the list,
yeah.
have to
Just work it out.
work through.
So, and maybe you don't have lights in the banner on the same pole.
I think
Well, we've already got those established, right, Jake?
You know, we dealt with this whole thing in a meeting already with Jim and Mary Smith and Andy and I. And we went through all
Oh,
of
you
this.
were involved with the meeting.
So,
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah. we're-
so all they need to do is just ask for your permission to do this. And we got it all taken care of.
I think it's.
So there's no,
Great
you're
idea.
comfortable and confident this isn't gonna be a problem for like
No,
you
we
workers?
used to put seasonal banners up 4 times a year.
Yeah, administratively,
It's fine,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that's
just,
all I.
the council just needs to,
Hey, Jack, do you
Provide
know
blessing.
if there's any, how many combat that's passed away from Freedom?
well,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How many what?
How many veterans have passed away in wartime? Combat vets, do you know?
We can get a list from.
We lost a young man here back in 2002.
Total, he wants to.
Yeah, his grave's next to my mother's, actually.
He's talking how many total.
How many total have passed away?
Yeah. No idea.
Oh, geez, there's
I think we have records at
hundreds.
museum, VFW put together some books.
Yeah, just in New Freedom Cemetery, we put up 300 and some
Yeah.
flags every year. So, I mean, there's,
Yeah, so let's go on for a decade.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let me, you gave kind of price for this and this and this. What would the total cost be for a family per flag?
$200 per
$200 total.
Yes. We got
That's a good price because I've seen at PSAB, those banners alone going for more than $250. So I don't know,
We-
Oregon somewhere.
We got a quote in February this year for 10 banners, shipping and brackets and everything would be $1,750, which would work out to $175 per banner. So.
And the bracket, that's a great
And the
price.
bracket.
That's with the bracket.
Yeah, oh, that's a great price.
Can I make a motion?
Yes, please.
Just so the,
There is a,
under new business, we have the agreement with First Energy, which I think that was one of the main concerns that the Heritage had is administration of that agreement and how that agreement would be held moving forward. What's not on the agenda is how it would be handled, but I guess administratively, if the agreement's going to be between First Energy and the borough, it's a given that the borough will cooperate with New Freedom Heritage and kind of administer the program and work through that process of reviewing the applications, collecting the funds. And I believe when we talked, we said we pretty much set up a separate checking account to track those revenues and expenditures. That way it's completely separate from anything else. I think.
Then I should wait till we get down further.
you can have a motion to proceed, but
Yeah.
Is it, just so I understand, is the extra $25 going to go to Heritage or stay with New Freedom?
New Freedom, stays with New Freedom. The borough.
It's just for, like, if one gets damaged, we have a little bit of a stash to replace it without having to ask the people that originally paid the, it's not going to go to far yet here.
we could entertain a motion to proceed.
Second.
I make a
You made the
motion that
motion.
New Freedom Borough proceeds with the Hometown Hero banner.
Is there any further discussion?
Did we didn't get a second?
We did.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Mike, sorry.
Sorry.
I mean, obviously, you have to iron out the details, but
I guess the only other thing I would say is if there's a committee or other help needed, I'd be willing to help.
Same. I started this actually in 2020, and it is overwhelming. So kudos to you guys, because I gave up during COVID because I couldn't do it.
I keep seeing them everywhere, and I'm a veteran myself. And
No, this is wonderful.
tweets and I think it,
I
you
think
know,
it'll be
in
great.
my era, like, we should really be ashamed of the way we treated our Vietnam veterans. It's a personal matter for me.
Well, like I said, we have some who have passed away in combat here in New Freedom.
Oh,
So to me, I don't know how many we have, that's what I was trying to ask.
Well, that would come when they fill their application out,
Yeah.
you know, for their.
I mean, I know the one next to my mother's grave.
You don't have to have passed away to be honored with a banner.
Right, and I understand that. My thinking is that somehow we get a fund
Put them
to
on
pay
top of
for
the
those.
list. Put them on the
so
top of the list,
family
yes.
doesn't
yeah,
have
I think you're gonna
That's what I'm
collect the
doing.
applications, and then you could
Yeah.
sort them
If
and,
it's like 2 or 3, I'll cover the cost, is what I'm thinking. If it's 20, then we need help. But I don't think the families of deceased who died in combat should be paying for the flag. We should have somehow get that for them, is what I'm thinking.
well, that might be something the VFW could help with too, as far as donations.
And yeah, we can have a committee, Ryan, you and I don't think that would help. I'd love to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Vote is aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Guthrie.
Thank you for what you did, I mean, it's. Next item up is the consent agenda. Good to see you, Beans. For the minutes for the regular meeting of May 11th and the treasurer's report of May of 26. I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the minutes from May 11th and the treasurer's report from May 2026.
I'll second that. Have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections to anything?
Under it, there was discussion that we had about page 6, splitting that charge between rent and office. That isn't.
Page 6 of the treasurer's report?
Of last month.
Oh.
Of last month, we had that discussion and took action to, on page 6, split the $3,400 charge. It was just all went to the office, so you note that here so that if somebody looks, they know
I
it was
got you.
corrected.
That you want that to show in the minutes, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because generally when there's a correction
Yeah.
to something, it shows that there was a correction made. It'd be split between the rec and the office. That was it.
I'll amend my motion to include the corrections.
Annie, can you amend your motion to include the correction for the minutes?
Yes.
Second. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. Unfinished business. Carl sent out an email today. There's no new developments in the Paul Smith Library. York County Library did acknowledge Carl's email of 4/28, which was the outline of what Paul Smith Library needed, but they've not gotten back to them at all about any of the items in the email. So I would leave it on the agenda, but there's nothing there's no action we can take tonight. Any questions? NIM certification process. I'm done. I completed mine. Yay. Anybody else have anything? Okay.
Who's left to get their certification?
Sure, I'm just keeping track.
You have one left?
I think just Dave and Mike.
Dave and Ryan?
I don't know what's gonna be gained from me showing up to a accident scene. If police are there, fire, EMS, they're gonna be the ones with the training.
No, by law, council members, elected officials are to have NIMS training. It's been a road minutes dating back years about council members.
What am I gonna do?
It's not up to you to decide what to do, or if you will do anything. It is elected officials are required to have this training.
Who's saying that, the state?
Stan Walters, our EMS and the state, yes.
No.
I mean, it's kind of like all the members of the fire company have to take NIMS training. It's not,
It's 2 classes, a couple hours of your time,
yeah, it's not,
and you're compliant. It lasts a lifetime, don't have to do it a second time.
Next item, consider approval of a resolution ratifying acceptance of the Southern Police Commission bylaws and code of conduct. I think we're still waiting on signing copy
For the code of conduct.
of the code of conduct. Can we ratify the bylaws?
The resolution was drafted as both.
That's true, okay.
We have the original of the bylaws that were approved in February, signed by the police commission and signed by Shrewsbury Borough, but no code of conduct signature or document.
All right, I'll check and see if we can't get a final copy. And we'll leave it on the agenda for next month. New business, consider approval of the 4th Amendment to the ground lease with Orrstown.
I can't believe it's been 2 years since we did this. Wow.
So we have basically a 50% increase. $1,500.
From a thousand.
Right, up from, yeah.
They're still getting
Does anyone have any, well, I guess I would entertain,
This is just a draft.
yeah.
Up for council's, just a suggested draft, up for council's discussion and consideration.
I can still consider a motion to move forward.
Correct.
So I would consider a motion to move
Make a
forward.
motion to move forward with the lease, the fourth amended, right?
Fourth Amendment to the ground lease with Orstown Bank.
Norristown Bank, $1,500 per
I'll
month.
second that.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Researched it, it was adequate.
Sorry?
I said I researched it, the annual
Yeah.
increase was appropriate,
Yeah,
that
it looks,
percent,
yeah,
so.
looks good.
that's good.
We don't think there's a need to go more than 1 year?
Well, that's their request.
That is their request, to go year by year, because what was it before? It was,
It's 2 years.
I think before that it was 5 and
yeah,
then 2, but.
Well, before that, it was a different bank, right?
Correct.
So, you know,
oh, yeah.
so I think they're trying to decide if it pays to stay in New Freedom.
That's what I was.
I think that's, I mean,
Feeling how you get.
but that's a business decision they have to make, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. Okay, consider approval of initial steps to abolish the amusement tax. I guess we can consider a motion to proceed with steps to abolish the amusement tax.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
I have a lot of discussion if anyone has questions. I wrote something, can I read it quick? It's not that long.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I began my research with the intent of building an argument against refunding a portion of the amusement tax that's been collected. Beyond my concern that refunding the tax creates the appearance of a pass-through funding mechanism rather than a true tax collection, I was operating under the assumption that the train rides generated additional financial burdens on the borough's infrastructure and our emergency services. Through lengthy discussions with Andrew Drake, Chief, and our emergency services representatives, I discovered that there is little to no evidence to support any additional financial burden being placed on borough services as a result of the train operations. And then I broke it down with each group of people that I met with. The Superintendent of Public Works offered insight to the municipal lot on East High Street. The borough acquired this parking lot in 2006 and made the only improvements, which included using asphalt millings from the South Schaefer Drive paving job that same year. They trucked the millings from South Schaefer and placed them over the parking lot area, then shot a mixture of tack coat and water over the area to seal it in. In the last 20 years, no additional maintenance has been done to that parking lot other than line painting. I also had an extensive conversation with our borough manager regarding the potential budget implications of removing or adjusting this tax. It was noted that even after accounting for the annual return portion of these funds, the overall impact to the borough budget would be minimal and likely manageable through other means. Again, the initial installation of this tax was to offset the additional cost burdens of our infrastructure. Collecting this tax and repurposing those funds to other shortfalls, like the community center, to me is no different than refunding the money to NCR. I met with Chief Boddington last week. He was able to provide me with printouts of all calls since 2013. The largest percentages of those calls were either false alarm company calls or self-notifications from the property owners. He went on to detail the department gets far more calls to area businesses like Rutter's and Pisano's. He specifically wanted it noted, in his opinion, the train does not add any burden to their service here in New Freedom Borough. My conclusion differs from the position I initially expected to take. I believe it's important that this council's decision be guided by objective facts and documented impacts rather than assumptions. Considering the last 13 years of tax collection as a case study, we can conclude that the original rationale for maintaining the tax period has not been substantiated by data. i.e. Nothing has cost us money that the tax has gone to.
I
Thank
agree,
you.
it's unfair. It's unfair.
Unfair to who? Then I have a statement that I would like to make also. And I think as council considers the future of this tax ordinance, it is important to recognize the significant public benefit that it provides. Do you have any idea how much we've collected?
Yes, I have all the numbers.
$233,000 you're willing to part with that we could use to benefit the citizens of New Freedom.
That's
Amusement
not-
tax, wait a minute, I have the
That's
floor.
not true.
I have the floor.
Sir, I beg to tell you that.
Point of
It's
order,
not.
I have the floor.
I
You
want to
may
know,
say-
that's not a year, right? That is for the
I said
time
for
of
the
it.
total.
Okay, thank you.
The amusement tax generates revenue for recreational and tourism-related activities, most notably ticket sales associated with NCR and the excursion trains. Those trains bring visitors into our borough throughout the year, increasing the use of local streets, parking areas, public facilities, and public safety services. The revenue generated throughout the amusement tax also helps offset the municipal costs associated with supporting the activity and contributes directly to the maintenance and improvement of borough infrastructure. Funds collected assist with roadway maintenance, public safety operations, parks, and other services that benefit all residents, which is what it is supposed to do by law. Retaining the amusement tax is a matter of fiscal responsibility. It allows the borough to receive a reasonable return from activities that utilize municipal resources while helping to reduce the reliance on property taxes, $233,000, as the sole source of local revenue. The tax ensures that visitors who enjoy attractions and events within the borough contribute to those services and the infrastructure that make those experiences possible. The ordinance has served as an effective and equitable revenue tool, allowing the borough to invest in the community without placing additional financial burdens on residents. For these reasons, maintaining the amusement tax, to me, remains in the best interest of the borough and its taxpayers. We would have to make up that difference in cost, and I don't care what anybody says, it does cost us to have NCR. We, in 2020, it was my idea, because of the rail trail and the train on Main Street, when they had the office down there, that people were getting hit. We have substantiated, records that people were getting hit because traffic coming down Main Street would not slow down. There was no crosswalk, and I pretty much insisted that we look at a crosswalk, which was passed. And if you see those two crosswalks now, Main Street's not quite as important anymore because they moved down to the train station. But Franklin Street, which is not a PennDOT street, that was put in there basically so people could cross over and go from the municipal parking lot, which is being used and which desperately needs to be repaired. It has never been adequately paved. The lines, the lights are not up to zoning standard to begin with. I completely disagree with doing away with the amusement tax. I just don't know how you're going to replace those monies. Right now, $35,000 for last year. To me, that's a lot of money. $233,000 over the lifetime of that tax is a lot of money. So that's my 2 cents. I don't think that it should be.
How much has been spent to repair the damage the so-called train riders have caused?
Just look at the crosswalks alone. How much do we have to contribute to the crosswalks? Yes, we
Grant
used
money.
ARPA funds for it, but those ARPA funds we could have used for something else.
Kim,
in the borough.
there's people on the bike trail just about every day.
I'm not talking about the bike trail, I'm talking about NCR. The bike trail doesn't use the crosswalk.
Yes, they do.
How do they get their
You gotta
bikes
be
across
kidding
the
me.
street?
Think about what you're
I'm
saying.
talking about a pedestrian crosswalk, not the bikes. There's already signs there. Get off your bike, walk it across.
And people walk
you know?
across on the trail.
And
Everyone
they
who
got
likes the
hit all
trail.
the time. Now we have lights. That was an expense to put lights in.
Grant money.
Not all of it. ARPA money
All right.
that we could
All
have
right,
used
not
for something
taxpayer
else.
funded.
So in the future,
Oh, what
we
you
will
want.
not have that money to put back into the community. Let's put it that way.
I'm not disagreeing with you
So
about
gotta
the
make
money.
up
I'm
for it some
disagreeing
way.
with 80% of what you just said and whatever that was. I agree with you about the money. Like, that is money that we have that we may or may not have in the future.
Well, you won't have it in the future if you don't have the tax.
Well, I'll give you my 2 cents. I don't really care if we have the money, obviously I care if we have the money, but I don't care if we have the tax or we don't have the tax. But the tax needs to be equal across the board.
Yes.
Whoever does amusement,
100%.
including Summit Grove, including the Lions Club Carnival, that ordinance was tailor-made
Yep.
to exempt the Lions Club. Love the Lions Club, nothing against the Lions Club, but that ordinance should apply to the ticket sales for the rides at the carnival.
You can change the ordinance. The ordinance says 7 days or more?
Well, that was put in specifically to exempt the Lions Club.
Do we know that? That was 2011.
Yeah, and 5 members of council were Lions Club, but I won't, sir.
I don't know.
We do know that for a fact. 2013, this was put in here by Tanya Crawford, former borough manager, Brady Terrell, Jeff Bloom. They did it to stick it to the man, Bob Gutwalt, because she hated his guts. That's why she got that written in there.
I don't know who any of those people are.
Exactly, because you weren't up there at the time, but I was here. I know, I heard the conversation.
So you want to share with us who those people were?
Well, that really
Brady Terrell was
does.
the council president, Lions Club member. Jeff Bloom was the council member,
Who's
Lions
Gutwalt?
Club member. Bob Gutwalt worked for the NCR, Steam Into History at the time. Tanya Crawford hated his guts. She specifically had it written in there. It's June 2013. That is when that was written. And that is why the Lions Club are exempt from, because they run it for what, 5-6 days? She worded it specifically for that reason, to exempt them from an amusement tax. Because Brady and Jeff Bloom wanted it that way.
Every penny that the Lions raises goes back into the community.
Okay.
Every penny that NCR raises goes back to NCR.
Not true, Tim. I have a whole list of
Every-
donations they have given. Anytime I have asked that train for money, they have given us a 4-pack for any kind of volunteer. What we're missing is, we all just listed every single nonprofit in this community, and we want to charge the people that patronize them, give them money, which they then turn around and donate and support within this community.
And Kim,
All of them.
how many years have I put new topsoil down in that playground down there because of the damage done from the amusement rides? Every year since I've been here. That's 15.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we should.
But you're
tax
not supposed to have to. That's supposed to be their
Only
responsibility.
1 or 2 times has another contractor come in to do that. Out of the kindness of his heart,
I'll
because
be
the rest
honest
of the
with
club
you, they
didn't
were
do it.
gonna do it, but they found out that you had already done it before they had a contractor come in to do it.
All right, all of this is hearsay and,
Well, it's not hearsay, I
well,
was
sure it
there.
is.
We maintain ball fields, we maintain the community center at a deficit, we maintain a lot of structures that we do not charge people to use. We are targeting the riders of the train specifically.
So why not use that fund to pay for those deficits? Come
Because
up
how
with-
fair is it to charge someone to ride a train and then turn around and repurpose that money?
It feels like
That's
we're
what it's
milking
for,
a
that's
cow.
what an
We're
amusement tax is
milking
for,
a
to
cow.
go back to the
That
community.
milk to somebody else.
By law,
I'm
that's
sorry.
what the amusement
Mike,
tax is
what were
for.
you saying?
No, to me, when I said it was unfair in the beginning of all this, it's because it's like we're treating them like a cow and we're milking them, but then we're taking that milk away and giving it to somebody else.
They don't pay for it. It doesn't come out of NCR's pocket.
No,
It
people
comes out.
pay for it.
That's
I already
right.
pay taxes to this borough, then I ride the train twice a year and pay them again.
Exactly.
Okay,
Part of the ticket, right?
$1.50. I'll give it to you. How much you want, $3?
Sure.
I'll give it to you.
You know,
Absolutely.
No, it's
That's what it
matter of
costs.
fairness.
I ride it 100.
you know, the irony of this situation is that we talked about $1 a week tax
I'm a membership.
to raise $78,000 for the police budget just a few months ago, and this is the same kind of thing. You know, that wouldn't have affected anybody. I don't think you can use the argument that it doesn't affect anybody. I think you have to use the argument, are you being fair to everybody? That same borough manager used to have a statement that you had to treat the church just like you would treat any other business in taxes.
Then change the ordinance to say anybody,
I think that's what we're discussing here.
or 5 days, or 3 days,
Or
Or
0 days.
or 0 days.
Zero.
This council didn't want to tax people that drive here for work every day and use our infrastructure every day, but we want to tax people that come once or twice a year from out of state to ride a train that brings an immense amount of money to our restaurants and local businesses.
People do that all over the state. They have amusement taxes for
I'm not
these
talking
exact.
about people, I'm talking about New Freedom Borough.
And how it's applied.
You know, again, nothing.
Well, it isn't applied correctly, let's put it that way. If we're giving it back to NCR, it's not going back to the residents of the borough, which its original intent is.
I think its original intent was to punish NCR and to allow the Lions Club to get out of the amusement tax. I think it is an abusive tax. I think it was an abuse of power whenever it was initially put in. And I think that we need, now that we know that, I think that we need to fix it.
Yes.
How we fix it is up to you, everybody here. But I think that it needs to be fixed. The Lions Club is exempt from the amusement tax. They get free community center rentals. There's no charge for Marge Goodfellow Park, electric, water, sewage. It's all donated by New Freedom from the general fund. And I have no problem with that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think the Lions Club do wonderful things for the community. I think they have blood drives. I think it's a good organization. And it's okay for the borough to support 501c3s. By state law, that is allowed. So I have no problem with that. But I do have a problem with saying this nonprofit, which is a 501c3, we like them, so we'll give them this stuff. But this nonprofit, we don't like them as much, so we're not going to give it to them.
It's about
I want it to be
appearance.
fair.
So why
It's
not
about
amend, so
appearance.
just why, instead of getting rid of it, why not amend the current ordinance to include what you want, rather than lose that revenue every year? Like I said, $230,000 we'd have to make up.
That was over.
Well, again, it's 30, it's
I don't care if it
30.
was over 10 years, it's $250,000.
But it
I'm not
gives us
a
an
$250,000
appearance of a
over 10
podunk
years.
town, you know, like where a sheriff busts the headlight of a car and says, oh, I'm gonna write you for a broken headlight.
Yes.
How many little
Time out.
towns do that?
Yes.
How much of the 232,000 was given back?
Probably about
50,
30,
60,
35, 40% maybe overall.
And if you change this
No,
tax...
no, not that much. I don't think it's that
Yeah, it
much.
was
We've only
30%
given it
one
back
year.
since-
I'm sorry?
This,
4,000.
does everybody know what the give back was for that? You and I were at the
34,000.
meeting. You and I were at the meeting. It was originally given back to them because of COVID, because they had to shut down and their finances were in shambles. And we generously agreed one time to give them $50,000. Well, guess what? What? Any of you read the story, Give a Moose a Muffin? You know, the next time you give him a muffin and the next time he wants the whole pie.
Can I finish my question, please?
Sure.
So now, like when Vortex has music and trivias, they have to be taxed an amusement tax, right?
I don't think they charge.
No.
I don't think they charge for their music.
And when the Lions Club has a craft fair,
Every bull roast at the
every bull roast at the community center that's held by anyone,
Well, it's not 7 days long.
Line
dancing.
Well, but
It's not 7 days long, it's 7 days in a calendar year, is how it reads. It's not 7 consecutive days, it's 7 days in a calendar year. But it's going, I will sit up here and fight, it's either going to be an everyone or no one. So there's not gonna be days, we're not gonna pick and choose. If you're selling a ticket, if you're paying at the door to
I don't
get in,
disagree.
if you're this, if you're that, you're paying the same flat percentage tax rate.
I don't disagree.
Well, in terms of taxing everybody, the Lions who give all their money to the community operate on a shoestring budget.
They all do, they're all
They don't have
nonprofits.
that money. We're, trying to afford the 10,000 for fireworks this year through donations, and it's, the lady who's doing it scrapes and claws for that. So I'm for eliminating it. Now, that being said, I want to know what Erica thinks in terms of the lost revenue and how that impacts, or if you have any opinion of that.
I've been patiently waiting with my finger up. Yes, I have an opinion,
You
I have a
have to get up
statement.
higher.
Raise your hand.
Okay. The motion tonight is to repeal the amusement tax. Before removing a revenue source that protects nearly 5,000 residents, we must be honest about what the repeal means. Eliminating this tax does not remove the associated cost. It shifts them onto residents who already endured a 43% tax increase from 2019 to 2024, while surrounding municipalities saw no tax increase. New Freedom is one of the most indebted boroughs in York County. We cannot afford to give away any revenue source. Council has attempted 5 times since 2023 to review, abolish, or reduce this ordinance. Every attempt failed, and every time the next step is a motion to refund the tax to NCR. This repeated pattern raises a fair question. Why are certain council members so fixed on repealing this tax and giving a donation? What would happen if I repeatedly requested an agenda item after it had already been rejected multiple times? Under Article 8, Section 1, the Uniformity Clause, taxes must be applied uniformly and cannot be selectively refunded to one business. Article 8, Section 8 prohibits giving public money to a private nonprofit without a measurable public benefit. Courts have ruled that incidental economic benefit, like visitors spending money, is not a public purpose. Borough documents show NCR uses refunded money for reduced ticket prices and making the area more visually appealing. A council member even stated refunds help people ride the train at a discount and to shop. These are private benefits, not public ones. Additionally, NCR is not paying this tax. The people who purchase tickets are. More than 62% of riders come from outside of York County. NCR simply collects and passes the tax through monthly. Once revenue enters borough accounts, it becomes public money. Returning it would violate both the uniformity clause and the prohibition on gifts of public funds. NCR also claims riders support local businesses, but their own documents show that less than 1% to 1.5% of New Freedom daily business sales come from train riders. A tiny incidental number not caused by refunds. If businesses believe they benefit, then businesses, not taxpayers, should donate to NCR. The municipal parking lot is intended for the use of events at the park and for our residents. NCR directs its visitors to park there, creating wear on the lot that was never designed to absorb.
That wear will require resurfacing and maintenance that taxpayers should not fully fund. Because NCR uses borough-owned lot as part of its operations, a charge for that use is a reasonable discussion to have. The borough should not fully subsidize those costs for a private organization. Some ask how other municipalities manage without an amusement tax. Most have larger commercial tax bases, higher earned income revenue, or alternative revenue streams that New Freedom does not have. Others ask how many municipalities have an amusement tax. More than people think. Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and York all have them. Repealing the amusement tax also eliminates any future revenue streams that may become available later. Once the ordinance is gone, the borough loses the ability to collect revenue from future events or expansions. In 2025, this council tried to tax non-residents for working in the borough because they added to wear on the infrastructure. That idea was dropped when only the council realized residents would also have to be taxed. So what changed? Why is taxing out-of-town workers acceptable, but taxing out-of-town majority of NCR riders suddenly unacceptable? The amusement tax exists because NCR's operations create real measurable costs. Parking, police, traffic, emergency services, infrastructure wear. Repealing it benefits one organization and harms residents. I will not support abolishing the amusement tax, illegally donating taxpayer money, shifting NCR's cost to residents, or violating the Pennsylvania Constitution, which our solicitor has reviewed on 2 occasions and each time says it is 100% legal. I support a dedicated fund so every amusement tax dollar goes toward borough maintenance related to NCR and/or potentially raising and expanding its application. We decide where public money is spent, not NCR. Therefore, I move to amend the motion to state that the borough retain the amusement tax as it currently stands, since abolishing it would remove a dedicated revenue source and force borough taxpayers to absorb the resulting budget gap.
What's the motion to keep it?
To keep it as it is, and then if we want to have discussion about how to change it, that's another time, which is fine, but my motion is not to abolish it, to keep the tax as it is today.
I have a question for Walt. The way I read PA law, we can donate to a nonprofit that is providing a public service such as education. Now,
There are, it's under section 1202 of the Borough Code, provides you with the rights to appropriate money. I'd have to take a look to see if it applies to something that provides education. I know there's one for arts organizations.
to qualify for an exemption, the amusement or event must directly relate to the nonprofit's primary charitable or educational purpose. So it doesn't. I don't know.
I have it right here. Would you like me to read it? I spent a week looking at it. Would you like me to go over it? I wasn't going to bring this up in public. That's why I wanted the executive session. You want it in public, I'll give it to you in public. The scenario of a past.
Hold on a second.
You have,
I have a motion.
you have a motion, a second, and then a motion to amend the motion.
Is anybody going to second my motion?
That needs to be considered before council continues with other comment.
Fair enough.
Unless the comment is on her motion to amend, yes.
I think this is a tax that most of us won't pay because if we ride the train, but it's an income that we have. And to lose an income that the town people generally don't have to pay is a benefit to me. I know not everyone in New Freedom likes the train. I've heard several comments about smoke and noise and the whistle and different things. Plus, like Erica said, wear and tear on infrastructure. I mean, we can't give up a source of income and then expect later that, oh, we need to raise the tax on people. And I just think that we should keep it the way it is now, and if we want to change it later, then so be it. But right now, keep
So
it.
you're seconding her motion, is that what you're
Yeah,
doing?
I mean, we should keep it.
Are you seconding the motion?
Sounds like it.
You said yes.
Change it, I don't know.
I'm not sure of the process here.
You vote on the, you have discussion on the motion to amend the original motion. So it's been moved and seconded, so it is now, the floor is open for discussion on Erica's motion
Okay. And
to
fir-
amend the original motion.
Right.
Which is essentially to flip.
Yeah.
And discuss, she said, other ways.
Hold on. The first motion was to consider abolishing it, and this motion is to keep it. I would, I'm not sure I'm allowed to ask this question, but I've never said, I've never particularly said that we need to abolish it. All that I want is for it to be fair across the board. So I guess what I would ask, if possible, is instead of saying, let's keep it the way it is and change it sometime in the future, I would like to change it now to include any amusement cell tickets. Anything that's a ticket in New Freedom should be.
All right, yeah, we have a motion.
But I'll defer to you, whatever you want to do.
I want to leave it as it is because this is the 5th time this has come up. I want it to be crystal clear that we put this to bed. We have spent over 2 hours in the last 4 years talking about all of this. This is just a drain on our time, the people's time, everybody's time. I want this motion to go through and everybody to vote on it. We can do a roll call vote and get it on the record that we're going to put this to bed. And then the next motion can be that, I don't know, do we need to have it on the agenda to look at it and
To change
it?
the ordinance, we
Yeah,
can.
I think at that point,
You know, so next
Put
month,
it on the next.
we all get the time for the next month, we'll look at the ordinance, come back with your thoughts, and we put it on the agenda for next month. But I want it put to bed now. I want this done. I don't want this coming up anymore.
I have a motion and a second to modify the motion to keep the amusement tax exactly the way it is now.
Yeah, I mean, have brought in over 200,000 people to our community. You can't tell me there hasn't been a cost to our municipality.
But no one can tell us the cost.
They can't tell me, but there has been a cost for 200,000 plus
somebody
people.
could.
I still just want to make sure I understand. So Rose Fire Company has several dances and event things.
They're exempt.
Why? Can I finish,
I'm
please?
sorry, I apologize. You're right.
It's an
They're
amusement,
not exempt.
and there is a ticket sold. Somebody just said for every ticket that is sold.
That's a discussion for next month when it's on the agenda. What's here right now is not to abolish it. Next month's discussion is about that. How is it going to be reviewed
So
and
is it,
looked
and it
at?
has to be if it's only a ticket or just entertainment?
Come with
There's
your
lots of
questions.
entertainment in this
Yeah.
community
Yeah,
Come with your
that's
questions
not
next month.
taxed.
Absolutely.
understood. Okay. Any discussion on the motion that's on the table?
I'd like a roll call vote.
I want to,
We didn't get there yet.
so, as Erica said, keeping it, but I want to make sure is that we're not opposing anybody here, and I'm not 100% clear. So right now, her motion doesn't change.
Doesn't change anything.
Does not change the existing, her motion is not to change the existing ordinance.
But to
To give
discuss
us
it.
next month to discuss it,
Next
talk about
month.
it, see how it's going to be looked at.
Yes.
And her motion does not include any form of give back. That's not on the agenda, and it's not on the table. We would have to discuss that next month. Any other discussion, questions? I'll ask you to raise your hand so that Andy can record a roll call vote. All in favor of Erica's motion, please raise your hand.
Keep it the same. Talk about it next month.
All those opposed?
You gotta vote.
So,
We've
so
already,
it was a tie, right, 3-3?
You didn't
No.
vote.
Oh.
Mike hasn't voted yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean to be difficult, I just don't remember.
it's fair, it's a difficult topic.
It's all right, so it's tie, I bring the tie.
It's not tied.
It's not tied. You have to vote unless there's a financial interest.
All right, then I'll vote to support Erica's statement.
Now it's a tie.
No.
No,
No.
no. One.
Oh,
Just Jenny.
Oh, it's just Jenny.
What you said.
It's hard, I see both sides.
It is hard.
But for right now,
So then we're back to the original motion.
Correct.
No,
Technically.
it was,
Well,
But
no,
that gets rid
it
of
was
the-
amended.
It was amended.
The first motion.
so the original motion's been amended and that amendment's been adopted.
Okay.
Which Vitiates the original motion.
Right, negates the original motion.
Now
Well, you still
Andrew,
had to vote, because your
That's-
only vote was on making the amendment.
Yeah.
You didn't actually vote on the motion.
That's what I thought.
I thought you voted on the amendment.
I know it sounds-
Help me out.
She amended the original and they voted.
No.
So
She
she
voted-
amended,
she
made a
amended it.
motion to amend it.
And he
moved to amend the
seconded
original-
it.
Oh, so now
We
we,
just voted on it.
well,
So
yeah.
now the motion is amended to read that you will not change the motion.
Right, understood.
I mean, change the ordinance.
so it's the
Yeah.
same thing again.
Right.
Yes, same
Okay.
thing.
All right, so,
Roll call vote again.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I
We got
understand,
there.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
We got there,
Yeah.
so you'll have it on the agenda next month to
Yes.
discuss the amusement tax.
Correct.
In its entirety.
and then the.
So just to be clear,
Issues have to be debated.
Next month, you're gonna talk about applying it to the VFW, the fire company, Summit Grove, Lions Club. I mean, should we reach out to them and tell them to come on in?
Probably.
I
don't
would.
know if we're targeting
I would.
businesses, but maybe we're targeting,
No, you're targeting
targeting,
NCR.
how-
You're targeting NCR. And I can very easily change the schedule tonight. We don't have to give or discounted tickets for Freedom Fest. We don't have to give discounted tickets to Smoke on the Rail. We can stop being a good community partner as well.
That's certainly not what the council wants.
Well, I think you really just kind of set the tone for that. I really do.
No, you're in our community and you have use in our community.
So
We
is
have helped
everybody
this
driving
community.
through?
Have you looked at, let's see, Walmart, Ailcraft, Vortex, and now Glen Rock? Everybody has a barrel of our train. Everybody loves our train, but nobody wants to support us.
Why does this does not dismiss any of that? Absolutely not.
Absolutely it does. We are the only nonprofit in this community that has to pay this tax.
That's why it's
Look,
going to be on
your
the
tickets,
agenda next month.
excuse me just a second. Your tickets are sold in this community. No one else has the option to even have an amusement tax. And please keep
Sure they
it,
do.
please keep in mind that we have not considered giving back, and that is still on the table, and that will be on the agenda for next month.
I absolutely understand that. I'm just incredibly frustrated. The amount of work that we do in this community, the amount of grant money we brought in to this community. I just don't understand why our efforts are not appreciated. I don't understand that.
What grant money did you bring in that benefited the residents?
We get grants all the time for improvements. We have the mural on the side of our building. That was a grant from Explore York. We have all kinds of beautification grants that we've gotten.
I agree with all of that, and I think I've been a broken record and probably the source of most of those agenda items myself. I do hope that next month everybody considers what it would mean if you're gonna try and tax the Lions Club, who would then just turn around and put it on ticket sales, as the ordinance could potentially say. You're gonna start taxing kids, essentially, because they're the ones riding the rides.
Yeah, that's the.
Ridership on carnivals is already down, so you're gonna make that even more expensive for people. If something like that were to be passed, not to say that it would, you're gonna make that more expensive, and that's gonna essentially target kids. if it was something with the amusement park. Nobody's been able to quantify anything. It got repaved, or not repaved, but paved 20 years ago. Jake, is that correct?
What, the parking
It
lot?
wasn't even
The parking
paved.
lot.
It wasn't even paved.
All right, so it was paved with millings 20 years ago, and since then, other than lining, has there been any?
No, sir.
All right, so in 20 years, NCR has operated for over half of that. And we haven't put any money into the parking lot.
And it needs to be put in.
No, it doesn't. Would it look better? Yes.
Have you gone down there?
I'm
See the
down there.
ruts and the-
Yes. Functionally, it hasn't changed in 20 years.
Functionally, it hasn't been functional.
How? You still parking on it?
Okay, that's not on the agenda.
The cars are falling through.
Can I ask one question though? Like for me, I don't want, to me, the Lions are a community giver.
Yeah.
They serve, right? That's
Absolutely.
their motto, we serve. I don't want to tax them for serving. And,
They don't sell tickets for anything.
They sell tickets for rides.
For the rides.
yeah,
That
that's
is
my
not
big
who
concern
sells the
about.
tickets.
Okay,
All
then
right.
we'll tax the amusement.
The amusement
people.
company is the person
All
that
right,
sells
but the Lions
the
Club is
tickets.
still hosting that event.
Different thing. They're not selling them.
All right, then,
They get money for the food and the events and the dime pitch and that. The guy that has the rides, he's the one that determines how much
All
they
right,
charge.
and that's on the agenda for next month, not this month, so,
Because I don't want them taxed.
sorry.
No, next month we'll talk about it.
Yes.
I want the Lions to.
Well, I mean.
Well, I don't want any of these
I mean,
nonprofit
right,
taxed, but that's
right.
not the way the vote
I
went.
mean, it's hard, I'm in the middle on this right now.
The only vote that was taken was to not abolish the tax and to leave it the way it is right now. There's no vote to tax other nonprofits at this time. So let's wait and see where we end up. We'll have that discussion next month.
And I would ask Walt to look into some of these things from a legal standpoint as to who is taxable or who would have to pay the amusement tax and what determines the amusement tax. Because it's designated by the state. It falls under the Local Tax Enabling Act.
Correct.
Okay, and the Pennsylvania Constitution, believe it or not, Article 8, Section 1.
8, Section 1, and 8, Section 8.
Yeah, it's mandated by the state, what, who, and what.
I have one question for consideration for people to think. Summit Grove is a profit, nonprofit?
They're the same thing, 501c3.
Are they?
Yes,
I believe so, yeah.
I thought that they were,
It's church owned.
they're church owned, they
Right,
can't
so
be.
they don't get
there's privately owned cottages in there, that's why I'm,
Yeah.
Right, and maybe that's something that we should look at, they rent them out, motel tax, everybody else has.
I mean, there's a motel, there's
They've been
20 campground sites?
They've argued that they're exempt from the county hotel tax.
Okay, because of religious reason designation, or?
That's not my circus.
Okay, that's,
I
we'll
think
make that your circus.
That's between the county of York and Summit Grove. not
And
between
so the
three
county
boroughs.
has agreed.
It's a county tax, so, you know, that it doesn't affect, tax at the municipal level.
Okay.
Okay, consider approval of an agreement with First Energy Corporation for the Hometown Hero banner installation.
make a motion for approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Before it was mentioned that there's 51, I'm a little confused if it was 51 in the borough or if they were talking about Shrewsbury.
That has yet to be determined.
Yeah.
We'll work through those details.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, because I think that number's.
They kind of recommended too that we only do 40 to keep it not.
But I just wanted to make sure that we weren't gonna take down anything from NCR, Christmas, or like having like some options for.
And the other thing is too, we want to make sure that we plan that out
Yeah.
to make it easy on Public Works, that we're not jumping all over the borough to install banners. I think we need to keep it uniform, that maybe it's Main Street, Constitution Avenue, and that's it. But do something.
Yeah, I like that limit of
Yeah,
20
that's-
that was mentioned, right?
It says First Energy. Is it with First Energy or with the borough?
No, the first step is First Energy, to have an agreement.
It's between First Energy and the borough to install. That has to be done before you can even move forward to advertise any kind of sale of banners or any program or anything. You have to have permission first.
It's not our polls, it's their polls.
I just want to make sure we have like a mechanism when we go about it that's smart.
Borough agreement with First Energy.
Right.
Word's missing,
All in favor?
okay.
Opposed? My vote is aye.
Well, the agreement's between the borough and First Energy.
Right.
You're approving an agreement.
Yes.
You said there's a word missing?
Well, the borough, but, because they were coming, is,
Oh, no, they can't,
And-
they didn't, they
and-
said they didn't have the ability to do this.
well, and then they said that, then the discussion had where you didn't want First Energy to do it, but I see First Energy here, so I was confused.
Oh, just to use their polls.
Yes.
Yes. All right, consider approval of a road closure request on September 5th for the bike rodeo.
Make a motion for the approval of the road closure.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
We did this last year, didn't we?
Yep.
Okay.
They-
Is it closed from,
Same hours, and it will not affect business hours of Paisanos.
okay,
Same
that's
as
what I
last
was
year.
wondering.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. Consider approval of the financial security request reduction in the amount of $57,012.50 for New Freedom Land Partners. It's the solar array.
I spoke with Andrew, and it sounds like this is a standard thing, but I just wanted a little bit of clarification on why that's standard.
It's standard to reduce financial security as the developer is implementing.
Because things are done.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't
Yeah.
need that money then
Yeah,
in
because
the
it's
fall.
done, it's been inspected, it's satisfactory.
And this money lines up with borough staff agrees with as far as
Correct.
what's done?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. What?
That was
Which one?
me and I think Jenny or Mike.
Oh, sorry. Consider approval of payment request number 4, which is a final from Borough Excavation Incorporated in the amount of $1,875 for the Bailey Avenue Stormwater Improvement Project.
I make a motion for the payment request number 4 in the amount of $1,875 for Bailey Avenue stormwater.
I'll second it.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. Solicitors report.
Okay. As I indicated, I looked at the audit report, and I thought that the audit report demonstrated that both the staff and the council have met their fiduciary obligations. It's not my job to comment on the finances per se, but only whether the finances demonstrate that you comply with your legal obligations. The lease amendment that you are considering, right?
Tom?
Yeah. I just wanted to point out that any termination of the lease requires a 180-day notice. When you amend a lease, you're essentially terminating and re-upping a new lease. So for any future amendments, always make sure they're 180 days ahead of the end of the term. Mr. Tomey appealed his conviction for the violation of the property maintenance code. You may recall the trial was scheduled for June 25. We have a motion for a new trial date because some of the witnesses are not available. I'll let you know when we get that new trial date. For those of you involved in the Devin Taylor federal lawsuit, I sent you an email that updated you on the status of that. Generally speaking, just know that what has happened is that there have been a couple of motions to dismiss that lawsuit that have been filed. They're pending with the court, and so we're waiting for a federal judge to determine, to make a ruling on those motions. That's not something, the work that I've done, that's been done by the insurance company counsel for you. The petition to waive the deposit of the estimated just compensation in Altieri. Remember, what happens is when you take a property by eminent domain, you have to pay into court the amount that is estimated to be the value of the property that was taken. In this case, the property that was taken was stormwater ponds and non-developable or public open space, which has no value. As a matter of fact, it's a liability. And because of that, we filed a motion with the court. We served that motion on all of the interested parties. Nobody has filed any objection. Therefore, we filed a motion for a rule absolute, it's called, to get the judge to confirm that we don't need to pay any money into court, and we're waiting for the judge's decision on that. We've had no activity since last month on the criminal charges that were filed against Devin Taylor. I expect, though, based on normal criminal procedure, that he was arraigned since the preliminary hearing. That's something where there's a special notice that's given to a defendant when the charge is transmitted to the Court of Common Pleas that says that the charge is now lodged there. So that has probably been accompanied by notice that he has the right to an attorney, and if he can't afford one, that one will be appointed for him through the Public Defender's Office. But we've heard nothing. My experience with these types of criminal cases is they're low priority because they're nonviolent, that type of thing. So I expect that we'll probably run up against the 360-day limit for taking a case to trial before you hear anything on it. So we're probably looking at next spring or something like that before any action is taken in the criminal case. It'll be brought up for, to be presented before the judge, and the district attorney will move for it to be continued. So they finally have to do something. That would be what I would expect for something like this, but I don't know, whether they want to get it off the books. But that's typically what I've seen. Let's see. I do believe that it would be helpful for you to have an executive session after the public meeting. I don't think you'll need to come back into session after that executive session based on what I have to discuss with you, but I do think that there's some things we want to talk about.
Okay. All right. I have nothing. Mr. Mayor? I'm sorry, manager's report? I already asked it. Anyone have any questions? Mr. Mayor?
No manager? Schema, I think you have got a copy of that report that came in. I don't know if this is the proper time to bring this up or not. Andrew, you, I think, responded. Along with the schema report, we got something for a, municipal agreement? What was that called? It was
It's almost like a mutual aid.
a mutual aid that we already do if we want to use somebody else's equipment. But there's an agreement for mutual aid. I think we need to maybe next meeting pass that out so that everybody can take a look at that. It basically puts in writing everything that we're doing now to help each other. But it almost sounds like it's a mandate that we
have to. And I
Not
don't
really,
like
because
that.
it basically says if available.
If,
So, you know,
if
I mean, it's,
available, but it wants to have someone that is in charge of that, what did they call that,
Designated
the
representative.
designated representative that decides who gets what and when,
And what they pay.
and what they pay. And I think, you know, before that, we need to all discuss, well, what are we gonna charge for this or that? And they don't want it to be any for-profit. Well, I don't know, do we want it to be a little bit of for-profit? If
No,
we
I think a
use our
mutual aid-
sweeper?
a mutual aid agree. That's, I mean,
That's what they're including, in that kind
including
of
the
stuff.
street
in
sweeper,
this.
I thought this was for emergency management.
No, well, I did too, and then all of a sudden, it came out with the emergency management report that they would like to have this
I mean,
mutual agreement,
I
mutual
don't
aid
think, I don't
agreement.
think that that's necessary. I mean,
Well, I
I don't
think,
want to have a street sweeper, and I can understand for emergency situations.
I agree, but do you think we should make that available for council for next?
Yeah. It's not a bad thing. Put it on the agenda.
Okay, let's do that. I did, I don't know if you know, there's a Senate bill that was going through, I forget the number, they were voting on it today. It had to do with the ability for us to vote to add something to the agenda with a 2/3 vote. Basically, it would be anything. Now it's de minimis, help me out, Walt, de minimis, emergency, and one other thing that we can vote to add to the
agenda.
to the agenda.
Yeah, there's, I think it's 3 that were originally, and now there's been a new case that said that
The
the
state
wording
Supreme-
allows
The state Supreme Court.
almost any amendment to the agenda.
Well, the state Supreme Court now has ruled that these are the 3. There are no more, and the Senate is strictly voting now to agree with the state Supreme Court that we cannot add anything onto our agenda once it's posted. Before, after 24 hours, I think it states. The other thing Kristen and I had a discussion about was the idea of having to advertise in a local paper. Denny, Mike, and I were just at the PSAB convention. A lot of these small communities are having a terrible problem with being able to advertise. I mean, you got somebody that's 75 miles, their closest newspaper is in Pittsburgh, and she agrees, it's horrendous. She actually had one of the municipalities get together every advertisement that they had to make in the York Daily Record, and was appalled at what it cost and where they put it. You can't find it anywhere. You have to look for it, plus the fact that nobody gets the newspaper anymore.
It's
So
an,
she is.
it's an
so-
archaic law now.
Right, so she is going to back us up on that. EMS, I did not get my report for this month. I would like to let anybody know, they are hiring and they are in need of EMTs at our station in New Freedom, our local EMS. We desperately need it. If you know of anybody that's an EMT looking for a job, please contact either me or contact the EMS supervisor, Abby McManus, up at the EMS station. The junior fire camp, again, will take place July 27 to 31st. If people want to get their kids involved in that, it's a fantastic group
All the kids loved it last year, and they have limited ticket. I think, did your grandson or great-grandson go to that? Enjoyed the tickets out of that. They are having that again in Shrewsbury from the 27th to the 31st. And they may need volunteers if somebody wants to volunteer. I think you have to have the proper credentials, you know, and the child safety stuff and fingerprinted for some things, but there may be other things you don't that you can volunteer for. That's pretty much it, the SCEMA report. We were very lucky with this last storm. You go north of us and northwest of us, and it was absolutely horrendous. Huge trees down, 200-year-old trees down across the road, and we were very fortunate, but we were ready to respond to that. We were in a phase 1 emergency alert, but it really wasn't necessary. We might have had a couple of branches down here and there. I have nothing else.
That public notice reform, Pennsylvania Senate Bill 194, pertaining to allowing boroughs to use their websites for advertising, et cetera, rather than
That'd be great.
194, just in case somebody wants.
Yeah, but that hasn't come out of the committee, I don't think.
Rather than what, use website rather than legal.
Oh, really?
Okay, so you don't have to advertise your ordinances in the paper where no one will see them.
Right, you have to advertise it in, like Savvy Citizen, on your website. You have to make it available for the residents to see, rather than having to put it in a newspaper. Now, of course, newspaper companies are gonna fight it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're pretty weak at this point, I would think.
You don't think they're
Especially after
lobbyists?
last
Yeah,
week.
but they're lobbyists,
Yeah.
that's the big
Yeah,
thing. Jordan and our lobbyists are really trying to fight this. Of course, the radar bill's still there.
Last one in the country.
Yeah, I know.
Keep it that
Okay.
way. I just paid $180 to Delaware.
Oops.
Self-inflicted, so.
Yeah. That's probably the main reason why it's not happening here. Everybody knows that feeling and says, yeah, I got caught in Maryland, I got caught in Delaware, I'm not gonna bring it home.
Yeah. Did it to myself.
Southern Regional Police Department still didn't have any financial numbers for January through April. The meeting was adjourned into a continuation meeting, hoping that we would have numbers before the end of June. We were asked if it would impact the audit, and they said no. We talked about the cameras, both in the car and body cams, and they've gotten a quote from Motorola and Axon. Axon is the better of the two. It was a little bit higher quote, but they're working with us. And the good thing budget-wise, the first year is variable, and then the 4 years will be fixed, so we can knock down the first year of the cameras. The cameras from Axon is $102K. Let's see.
I have a question about cameras. Does that video footage stay within?
It's a cloud storage now. They're actually going to save some money on the server. That's actually on here too, but they're going to save money on the server because they don't need as large a server equipment because it's all cloud-based.
So who has access to that? Just Southern Regional, or does whatever company they go to?
Well,
have
it's all
access?
password encrypted and protected, so, I mean, like you can't go on and get.
I know that nobody's just gonna be able to go log on. I mean, they don't even actually have a real website, but if they did, you can't just log on to that. But I'm saying, who has access to those videos?
Well, Southern Regional and probably the DA's office because it's used in evidence.
Only if they share it with them.
Right, they would have to give them.
All right, because the company doesn't have access to it. They just have the server. I'm concerned about privacy.
Yeah, I guess from a privacy standpoint, that's a good point. but yeah.
Similar to the flock cameras, I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of news about privacy concerns.
Yeah, it's a good point.
When the time comes, can we ask them to have MFAs, multi-factor authentication?
Yeah.
which is, it's locked, and I do that for all my stuff, everything's in the cloud. I work in
I would
healthcare
think-
with
yeah.
HIPAA, and everything's locked down with MFA.
I would think the security on something like that would really be.
Yeah, I hate mine multiple. I mean, I've got
Yeah, I
emails
know, I
and-
gotta wait
yeah.
for a text message to authenticate, but
MFA
It's worth
seals
the-
up the cloud.
I just got hacked, tried to get hacked this week, and fortunately, I took an IT class that finally, that I had to take, and it really said, hey, if it's suspicious, take a look at it, and here it was somebody that had gotten their entire phone was hacked, and every one of their contacts was called or was notified of an invitation to attend, but you had to hit a response to get to respond to it. I thought, I'm gonna call them.
Okay. All right, so, after 5 years, we would own the in-car cameras, and then we would only have to have the service contract on the body cams. Again, they're doing a server update. Came up about the capital budget. I mean, we keep talking in Police Commission about spending $102K for cameras and money for a server, but there's still no capital budget, so they're hopefully working on that, and we should have a capital budget shortly as well. The civil service has been seated. They have a chair and a secretary, and they will be doing quarterly meetings to start with, and that's what they decided. The audit for 2025 is coming up. It's probably going to be the end of this month, and they've requested a half-year audit for 2026 due to the accounting problems that they had with the outgoing accountant. It was thought that they would use Altland, but I think I sent an email out. I don't think you can really have the sitting accountant be your auditor. I think it needs to be the auditor that we use for the standard. So I think that's going to be what happens. Sergeant Schmuck changed his drop date to fall during a pay period, at the end of a pay period, to make the calculation easier. It was only a couple days and there was no cost impact. And Officer Schaefer.
Schmuck's not retiring for another 2 years, though.
Right, he's in the drop program. And Schaefer's retirement dinner was this last Saturday. We also got a letter from the Department of Homeland Security. I'll just read a section here. I'm writing to provide an update on the Jason Evans counterfeit case from early 2025, which involved multiple Weiss and Giant stores in Pennsylvania. Mr. Evans was sentenced today in federal court for the District of Maryland to 32 months, followed by 3 years of supervised release. This outcome is a direct result of your hard work and dedication. And this was sent to Chief Boddington, Southern Regional Police Department. It was a combined effort between Maryland, U.S. Secret Service, Baltimore County, York County, and SRPD. So they got a commendation, and that was kind of cool.
What's is there a current total for the audit?
Total?
Financial cost for the audit so far?
No. No.
Ballpark?
Wouldn't even want to hazard a guess.
I'd love to know before it's over and when it's over.
I mean, yeah, you don't mean the audit, you mean just getting things back in shape.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, the audit's the annual thing. But
Right.
With the additional incurred costs from this management.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be substantial, but it's unavoidable.
Is that a bond? Was she under bond? Is that a bondable?
I really hope so. I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to press charges because you'd have to go back and
Yeah,
prove
that would
forensically.
cause even further financial, you're better off just,
Yeah.
unfortunately, you're better off just moving forward, but
Well, yeah.
not what you
And
want to do, but.
she literally crippled SRPD. I mean, it's almost.
So the fact that it happened and has happened over several months, I have very little faith in individuals there right now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, what's going on with New Freedom that our events are going up so much? I mean, we started out with 48 and we're up to 79. We seem to have higher incidence rate than most of the other boroughs. Is there something special going on that?
We actually asked Teed about this after the meeting, Joni and I. He referred back to the kids out of school and the beehive. So like some of those calls, he said, come in and they're not really New Freedom Borough.
Well, this was April and May, so they were still in school. I mean, it just seems like from the beginning of the year to now, it's going up in New Freedom much more than it has in the other boroughs.
I didn't know if there was something special that they had been looking at that's creating the events.
Are we more populated?
No, not to
No, not really.
Joni has a statement.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in the hall talking to Chief, he said that unfortunately, because they're in New Freedom, everybody that pulls up and rings that bell, it's an incident
It's
in
an
New
incident.
Freedom.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Until
say.
they find out that they live in Glen Rock and then have to go to Glen Rock for the incident, or Shrewsbury, but if it's just here, it's a New Freedom incident because they live here.
Yeah, it's a disadvantage of having the police station here, but I think,
More advantages of having
I think the advantages.
Well, kind of the same thing with
disadvantages.
fingerprinting. They do all the fingerprinting here and we get, that goes in, I think, as an incident. We pay for the fingerprint.
Oh, you mean, I don't think they're doing fingerprinting for like, talking about like for passports and stuff like that.
No, for like child
Oh, for child
certifications and teachers and.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Since we're at the end of the school year, who is the SRO?
Well, that is still Schmuck
Yeah,
right now.
The Schmuck.
For our school, yeah.
Correct. Then Dio, I think the kids call him Dio, Officer Dio, is also a member of Southern Regional, but he's always at the school. But I think he has a Southern Regional badge.
He has a Southern York County School District badge.
Yeah.
He's an
Right.
employee of the school district,
He's a-
along
yeah.
with the safety officer they hired a couple years ago.
So
I think-
there's
think-
essentially three then.
One
Yes.
for southeast, one for
No,
south.
no, I'm
Not-
talking about Southern schools only.
No,
Not
no,
Southern
two.
Regional employees, but there are 3 armed individuals at our school. One sits in the admin building, DO, and then our officer.
And
Said
the
that
one-
I've been
the
building
one
all
just
day.
has-
Yeah,
The
yeah,
one just
it's a
has
whole
a-
thing.
he
We can
has a
talk about it. I
taser.
had a meeting with Chief and I
Okay.
got a wealth of information.
Okay, I thought there was only one, and then I've seen three. I know they contract for graduation and certain events, so like, I understand
There's
that.
only
Oh, yeah,
one
you'll always
SRO.
see extras
only
at the,
one.
Yeah,
Southern
I
Regional.
understand, but this was like a regular day, and I saw three uniformed individuals. I thought it said Southern Regional, I must have been.
I think it says Southern
Okay.
York County School District.
There's only one, she said there's only one SRO.
Provided from Southern
Region.
Yes,
Southern
okay.
Region.
All right, yeah, well,
You know, on the lines, Kim, of what you're talking about, I was just looking at the youth referral. New Freedom had 3 of them, and nobody else had it. Southern School District had 2, but youth referral, do you know what that exactly means? What, is there a troubled youth that gets caught?
Youth referral, it could be, we've had some psychiatrics that have had to be responded to that were youth. You know, could involve that.
they call in outside help too for you know, if there is a psychiatric issue.
It's concerning.
Yeah, certain calls, there are people that will go along on the call, the EMS call, if they know that it's concerning something like that. But it could also be the school district called, you know, children's services, to report something. Kid comes in and they're all bruised and,
Okay.
they're mandated.
All right, engineering report? Print those off. Any questions on water system?
There's no update. Recently, we did provide York Water the revised letter following the meeting in May. We have yet to receive a reply to that letter, but other than that, I don't know that we will, because the letter indicated that council wishes to have the agreement auto-renewed, so.
Yeah, well, that would probably be the best for us if we just auto renews.
Right.
Yeah. Any question on wastewater system? Zoning and code enforcement?
Again, you said zoning and code. Cheaters on. All right, some upcoming events, NCR's America's 250 event. Partnering with them, we're gonna have some kids' activities. 4th of July parade coming up. That's on Saturday, July 4th, kicking off at 4 p.m. Lineup is at 3, and we're still looking for participants. Historically, people are usually last minute waiting on weather. Grand Marshal this year will be Captain Jack from the VFW. We talked about Smoke on the Rail coming up July 25th and 26th. And the concerts. June 20th, Don't Stop. August 29th, Jake Mock. And the final series this year, September 26th, Gram Positive. Just one general note, I'm not trying to drag the conversation on, but like, depending on how you talk about taxing tickets, you might be looking at rec events also, so depends on how the verbiage goes, depends on.
I think you're exempt.
It's a recreation.
Doesn't matter, there are certain ones that are exempt.
I will be able to answer it in executive session, you can move on.
Thank you.
Just so you know.
Okay. I would ask, I can't remember if we did this already for the coming years of yard sales. Seemed like it was very positive this year, a lot of participation, I can't tell you how many we had in Kohler Point alone. So if it isn't already agreed upon, could we get a agenda item for the next meeting to confirm next year, or make it an annual thing and just call it that weekend? Same conditions, waiving fees, but still have to register, that we did this year. In the effort of time, since we're going to be another couple minutes after this, does anybody have any questions?
Real quick, I just want to say, I stopped by the farmer's market and they had a clicker, and I was there at 10:30, and it was up to 478 people at 10:30.
Wow.
The stand had sold out by the time I got it. I mean, it was amazing.
Thank you.
People were selling all kinds of things. The location was a huge
Yes.
improvement.
Thank you, that was the one thing I wanted to bring up. There was the flower vendor who sold out. A couple of people inquired about staying a little bit longer because they were having such good days, such great traffic, love the location. If anybody knows of any produce vendors, we are still looking for produce at the farmer's market. A lot of the vendors that Rachel reached out to have been affected by the frost, kind of like Shaw's and some other local orchards. They're not going to have cherries, strawberries have been affected. So this early, it's hard to get a lot of produce unless you have a greenhouse. So we are still looking for a couple vendors. Rachel has heard back from someone. I think they're lined up for the next one. And the concert series, thank you to Vortex. They had to run back twice for beer that night.
Wow.
Great food, great music.
Tons of people.
Yes, I think that was.
That was the best attended one ever, for sure.
Yes, I was going to say it was pretty much the consensus of everybody there that was the most well-attended one so far. So, thank you, Joni, Andy.
Johnny and I got a thank you from Rachel. It was signed by all the
Good.
rec
I didn't know if
rec
she,
board.
I didn't know if she gave it to you already.
Yeah.
So thank you both
That was nice.
for your continued support. It's awesome. It's incredible. It's great having a free event downtown to take advantage of the park. And one last thing, at the last meeting it was mentioned that the park is only used 6 or 8 times a year. Rachel and I sat down this afternoon and we came up with about 50 different entities that registered either a cook shack, the park, tennis, any combination of the above. So it was,
50.
correct. I think we actually counted 52, but I'm just rounding down.
Car show last weekend, boy, that was
Yep.
gangbusters.
So it's, yeah, car shows to cook shacks and everything in between. It's approximately 50 entities that rent or utilize. And that's not counting multiple days, that's just, like Lions Club for the carnival, that's one. Trying to,
It's great. I love to see them, every Monday night they're down there playing volleyball. They have like 10
yep.
nets set up.
Yeah, so
I don't know
that's-
who's doing it, but it's great to see it being used.
So I guess I'll take one more minute. There was, the last couple of months, there was some conversation about the MyRec software and bringing some of Shrewsbury Townships into it. They had been given some access to Miller Park fields, fields that are traditionally used by lacrosse, some that were Mason-Dixon soccer. There's a lot of juggling around that Rachel did a phenomenal job. Got them moved down here to March Goodfellow Park. Got everybody back to I'll call it their home field. Everybody has a sense of ownership of one field or another. So thank you to Rachel for managing that and really making everybody happy. That's all.
If there's anything for committees, York County Comprehensive Plan Amendment, 45-day review period in public meetings.
Just correspondence, just notification. You have the notification that was sent out back on June 1st to all municipalities.
Take it
No,
up.
it's just informative.
Public comment?
Real quick, the last month was talked about the excess police cars out here going on municipal. What's the progress of that?
Can you, someone repeat that?
Yeah, the last police commission, 2 police commission meetings ago, Chief mentioned selling the cars on municipal. And Jake was
Oh.
following up, and without overstepping, it was not discussed at this month's meeting.
I didn't get an update on that. Something we could ask though.
Are they getting in the way of parking out here?
They've been sitting there for years. At least 2.
Okay.
They should
I'll
write
ask.
themselves a ticket.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Call the place and have a ticket. All right, executive session then.
Was June
Hold on.
22nd, when there's something about the bell, remember for the 250th anniversary? aren't they
Oh,
doing
yeah, the
something?
dedication
June
of
22nd?
We the People Bell. It will be the very first in a series of 7. And they have decided that New Freedom's dedication will be the first. When is that? I think it's on, isn't it on
It's
a
on
Monday?
June 22nd down at the Franklin Street at the,
Yeah, June 22nd at 2 o'clock, the bell dedication. It will be right there at Franklin Street. There's going to be a post, and they'll have, it's a hand-painted bell by an artist. She will be there, and it brings in the dedication of the 250 year anniversary.
What organization's doing that?
It's the county.
Is 1 of 7 for the state?
no, for county.
There are 7
1 of 7
for the
all
county.
around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're getting the first one, and the title of it is We the People,
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that.
which is kind of neat. We're getting the first one. We will go into executive session about a legal issue, and we will adjourn out of that with no further action being taken.
5-minute recess before?
Yep, absolutely.
Are we standing here?
Yeah, we can stay in here.
You forgot to, thank you. Get my hair.